From KGW, this is The Good Stuff.
It was just fun for me. I called it my Disneyland.
Tonight on The Good Stuff, an event brings together former residents of a small town lost to a flood over 70 years ago. We're talking about the Vanport Mosaic Festival. Thanks for joining us. I'm Deidre Johnson. Survivors spoke about their memories growing up in Vanport before having to escape the flooding of the Columbia River. John Adams has a look at the emotional reunion.
In Vanport, my life was fun.
Even though it's been over 75 years, former Vanport residents recall the fun times they had growing up in the community.
The kids got along well. We all went to school and played together outside.
It was just fun for me. I called it my Disneyland.
The city, built as a wartime housing project for shipyard workers and their families, stood from 1942 to 1948. Many of the former residents gather every year to tell the stories of what it was like to live there and what it was like to flee the city when it was destroyed by a massive flood. Marion Loveland was 14 years old in 1948. She was at the movies when it happened.
Someone came in and said, the dam has failed and we're being flooded.
Carolyn Hinton was 12 when she escaped the flooding with her mother.
I looked out the back window of the car and it was just a big wall of water coming. By the time we got where we could be safe, we jumped out of the car and water was about up to my knees at that time.
From now through June 1st, the Vanport community will be remembered through art exhibits and history lessons. The event organizer says it's important to not forget the people and stories of this lost city.
We remind the story because it matters, because it has lessons for survival for today.
John Adams, KGW News.
Ahead of Memorial Day, the remains of a World War II soldier from Washington will be buried more than 80 years after he died. His remains were delivered from Dallas back to his home state just yesterday. Devin Haskins spoke with the man's family about why it took so long.
For years, his name has been etched in stone outside the Centralia, Washington Library.
There he is, right there.
It's a memorial dedicated to prisoners of war and those missing in action.
Right here. George F. Bishop.
George Bishop was a prisoner of war. To Stan and Les Yoakum, George is their uncle, a man they've never met, but one they're learning more about. Bishop enlisted in the Army in 1939 and was stationed in the Philippines in 1941. George died during World War II before either of them was born.
It says, to Shirley, from George.
Shirley is their mom, George's little sister. This is possibly his last letter home, a Christmas card sent with a Filipino doll.
Best wishes for Christmas and happiness in the new year.
Sergeant Bishop's new year would be anything but happy. The day after the Pearl Harbor attack in December of 1941, the Japanese attacked the base Bishop was stationed at. For 3 months, American and Filipino troops fought back before surrendering. Thousands of soldiers, including Bishop, would become a prisoner of war.
He survived the battle and was marched in that Bataan Death March.
The Bataan Death March was a grueling and deadly 65-mile march through the Philippines to the POW camps. Thousands of soldiers died along the way due to the harsh conditions of the jungle and by the hands of the Japanese troops. Bishop survived the march, but at only 22 years of age, he died at a POW camp in July of 1942.
And the fact that he took part in that kind of stuff, it just blows me away.
Bishop was buried among many others in a mass grave, what was known as Common Grave 215. When the war ended, the bodies in the mass grave were moved to a cemetery in Manila to either be buried there or identified and sent home. Bishop's remains would be among the many without a name, only known as X2875. In 1949, a recommendation was made to identify those remains as George Bishop, but that was denied, citing fragmented forensic evidence and poor dental records. The Army wrote to his parents telling them, "The Department of the Army has been forced to determine that his remains are not recoverable." Everything would change more than 80 years after his death when Stan got an email
saying, "Hey, we found your uncle. Good news."
You see, years ago, Stan and other family had donated their DNA, which the government used to help identify George Bishop. X2875 finally had a name.
It touched my heart, let me put it that way.
For years, his name would be among those on the wall of the missing in that Manila cemetery. You see that little spot to the left of his name? It's a rosette. It was put there recently to symbolize that his remains have been identified and sent back home.
That was the big thing, was that he'd been identified. He was real.
And after more than 8 decades, he will finally come home.
This is the spot right here.
A spot of his own next to family.
This is George's spot right here.
Such an amazing story. Well, Bishop will be buried at the Claqueto Cemetery tomorrow. He'll receive full military honors before he's laid to rest. Well, for our next story, we meet a new member of the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office. He's only 3, but he's already making a big impression. Meet Burton, the comfort dog.
I, Burton, do solemnly affirm that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially perform the duties of a comfort dog for the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office.
Burton took his vows and now he's officially part of the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office. He's the first comfort dog for the department. Burton and his handler will respond to calls and help relieve the stress and anxiety of families, community members, and first responders.
He eases tensions, he relieves stress, he just brings everyone solace and comfort, and he just makes you feel good. I mean, it's amazing what a dog can do just being in someone's presence.
He's a German Shepherd donated and trained by Working Dogs Oregon. The organization says Burton will be a true asset to the community.
It's the power of dog. Does some amazing things. It will connect some of the most difficult cases in Multnomah County, and I'm talking cases as individuals. It humanizes everybody, and it makes the uniform disappear, and that just makes for a better community.
Burton is the 19th dog from Working Dogs Oregon to be placed. The organization has placed other dogs at locations such as Oregon State University and the Tualatin Police Department. They say they wanted to make sure Burton went to the right department.
We train these dogs for this purpose. There's a lot of walls that need to get broken down to get into the department, to see that need and realize that this is something that's going to really be a benefit to them.
His handler couldn't be happier to be paired with Burton so they can help others in their time of need.
It was just kind of a dream job. I'm also on our crisis negotiation team and on our peer support team, so I do a lot with dealing with members of the community who are going through crisis, and I thought, what a great asset to have a dog with them.
Now, with any new job, Burton already has his schedule. He'll work Tuesday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. But he'll also be on call so he can respond to critical incident calls or to a traumatized victim that needs help. Coming up on The Good Stuff, a community in Vancouver takes a unique approach to tackling small crimes. The program working to get people on the right path. But first, let's take a trip out to the coast with our Cannon Beach Skycam. The clouds are looking so pretty this evening. We'll be right back. For the past year, the city of Vancouver has been trying something different. It's a new approach to deal with low-level crimes, most often committed by those who are homeless. Tim Gordon takes us inside a community court and explains how it works.
The effects of homelessness can be severe for those living on the streets and on the communities where they set up camp. Crimes like trespassing, unlawful camping, and public storage of property leave an obvious mark. Under the typical court system, most charged with these misdemeanor offenses end up with a day of community service and, importantly, a conviction on their record. Add jail time if a defendant doesn't show up. What's happening at a place called the Recovery Cafe on East 4th Plain Boulevard in Vancouver is different.
So you never actually showed up there? You just called?
She just called me.
Okay, yeah.
The city's community court happens every Monday in a cramped conference room with a court commissioner in charge and a whole host of people there to help.
We have a flyer, don't we? We can get a flyer for that.
The result?
Within the course of 2 months, you can see some people's lives really change.
Kevin McClure is the city prosecutor. He's been at it a long time.
And this is 30 years of me prosecuting crimes, and this is one of the most innovative programs I've ever been a part of. So I'm really excited about the court.
That's because this court doles out more opportunity than punishment.
It's rewarding. Like I said, it's like the first time in my career where we're making some concrete steps to actually assist people.
Christy Emmerich is a criminal defense attorney and owner of a public defender's firm. She spent a lot of time in all kinds of courts.
I think this one is meeting people where they're at. The criminal justice system is not designed to help people.
And that, Emmerich says, is why this is so refreshing and powerful.
You look like you've had a rough weekend. Mother's Day is a bittersweet day for a lot of women.
It was a really rough day yesterday.
Yes, and I'm proud of you for showing up.
Thank you.
This woman is struggling, but she's here.
Are you ready for something different?
Oh, yes, we are. So.
Are you so close? Okay.
Yeah.
As long as you're getting closer.
The other part of me is standing on the ledge, and I'm behind me, and I'm getting ready to shut myself off.
It's scary. It's scary. It really is.
Jumping, but sharp.
And it's not easy, and there's a lot of things that happen, but it's worth it.
As long as she makes progress, there is support with mental health, substance abuse issues, housing, and the smaller things like getting a driver's license. Representatives from various agencies are at the table and set up in the main space at the Recovery Cafe. And the cafe serves lunch. Instead of avoiding court, many participants are eager.
I was expecting somebody else to walk in, so that's right.
They were still eating, so Albert jumped in front.
This man has several tasks ahead of him, and it's stressful.
It's just one thing after another.
Yeah, well, I know you know where to go.
Yes.
His car needs repairs, and he's got no place to work on it.
I mean, the most we can do, I can help you find a mechanic that will do things cheaper.
No, I did the work myself. I've got the parts already. I say I need the place to do it.
Not all can be solved here, but a lot can. And every participant is required to do community service, usually cleaning up homeless camps, sometimes taking care of the very mess they made. Those who graduate have their cases dismissed.
And I'm going to admit, at first, I really didn't think it was going to work. But it did. I'm here.
Butch Wood graduated a few months ago. Now he comes back to support others. He's grateful.
Here they treat you like an individual. Court, you don't get treated like an individual. You get treated like a statistic.
Community court is set to expand to serve more defendants. Both prosecutor and defense attorney are on board.
Is it an adversarial relationship at all, or you're just working together?
Like I said, this is a weird little court we have. So kind of for the first time, I think we're more in line than we are opposed.
I think as long as somebody is legitimately trying, we're willing to give them as many chances as it takes.
There are many partners in this, including the Clark County District Court and several nonprofits. So far, 86 participants have opted into community court, and nearly half of them have graduated. Coming up next, connecting students to both Japanese and American culture. The local program using school materials straight from Japan. But first, we take you to the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Course in Aloha with a beautiful view over the green hills as the sun starts to set. More of the good stuff after the break. Welcome back. We continue to celebrate Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Families at the Portland Japanese School are using an immersive program to keep them close to their roots. Our Sydney Dorner has more.
That's right. Each Saturday, Hazelbrook Middle School in Tualatin transforms from an everyday middle school to a learning environment of all things Japanese culture. Hidenori Oishi lived in Japan until he was 19 before moving to the U.S. Once he decided to raise a family in Beaverton, he became dedicated to making sure his children had strong connections to his birthplace.
Not sending my kids to Japanese school is not an option, because I always have a fear that once I do that, they're gonna lose their language.
Oishi has been sending all his kids to Portland Japanese School since they were 5. His daughter Yuki, now 15, says she wouldn't be the student she is today without the program.
It's taught me a lot of time management because it is hard balancing like my regular high school work and Japanese school work.
The Saturday school serves K through 12. Established in 1971 by the Japanese Business Association of Portland and supported by the Japanese government, who ships textbooks to the school.
You get to know a whole different country and like culture, because it's not just the words, it's like more music and all like the movies that you can understand because you know the language.
Students say the school keeps them adjusted to both American and Japanese culture, hoping to be a bridge between both countries when they grow up.
I want to make Japanese culture, language as a unique, Pokemon card in the world. in a way.
Cool.
But in order for us to do that, we have to, carry over all those language over to next generation.
Sydney Dorner, KGW News.
Still to come, a preview of all the cool events coming up this Memorial Day weekend. Stay with us. It's Wednesday, which means we're looking ahead to the weekend. There's a lot going on this Memorial Day weekend across the Portland metro area. Here are some of your options. We begin with this year's Rose Festival, which starts in just 2 days. It begins this Friday with the City Fair at Waterfront Park in downtown Portland. The fair runs through the next 3 weekends. The Starlight Parade is on Saturday, June 1st, and Fleet Week starts June 5th. And finally, the Grand Floral Parade is on June 8th. And if you're ready for some fun and lots of food, of course, the Multnomah County Fair runs Saturday through Monday. It's at Oaks Amusement Park in Southeast Portland. There will be rides, dancing and singing performances, and even a lucha libre wrestling match. It runs from noon until 7 each day. And if you're looking for something flashier, the Cascadia Drag Festival is this Friday through Sunday. The event will feature a new performance showcase, a fashion party, and a matinee show on Sunday. It's all happening at the Clinton Street Theater. Tickets range from $15 to $50. And you don't want to miss this. The comedy show Minority Retort is hosting its grand finale this Friday at the Siren Theater. The lineup features black and brown comedians with some returning acts and some secret guests. The show is for those 18 and older. If you'd like to go, tickets cost $15 to $20. A portion of the sales will also go to the Oregon-based nonprofit Black Parent Initiative. For more weekend inspiration, check out the 8 Things to Do article up each week on KGW.com. Well, that's all the time we have. Thanks for taking a little time for the good stuff. Before we go, we take you outside with a live look from our Rose City Skycam as the sun disappears behind the city skyline. Have a wonderful evening.